My name is Natalie. I'm a criminal defense attorney, but I was sued in a civil lawsuit out of the state of California where I was accused of defamation of character. And I ended up representing myself in that case pro se, which, is not advisable. You should never represent yourself in any case. You should always hire an attorney, but I decided to go my own way. And I was successful in that case. And I came across a case of Cardi B versus Tasha K. And I said, wow, that's going to be a really interesting case for me to talk about here on my channel because it involves a popular people, celebrities, but it also involves the issue of defamation and defamation law, which is things like libel and slander and false light. So as a result of coming across that lawsuit, I thought that I would talk about that here and kind of break that case down. I'm going to be breaking the case down into two parts. So this is the first part, and it's going to be about Cardi B's side of the lawsuit. And then the second part, which will be in another video, will be about Tasha K's side of the lawsuit. If you have no idea who I'm talking about, don't worry. I'm going to clue you in. I'm going to dive deep in depth on the issue of celebrity lawsuits for slander and defamation of character. And I'm going to let you guys, know everything. I'm going to come with my receipts. I'm going to have video to back things up, screenshots to back things up, and I'm going to be pointing you guys in the right direction of what you need to be looking at. Aside from that, I want you guys to know that, Cardi B is a well-known celebrity. There's a lot of things that are known about her and her personal life and her past. The same thing goes for Tasha K. I'm not really going to be getting into that. I'm only going to be getting into what the judge will be considering at the trial if the case actually does go to trial. And so I'm just going to be diving into the evidence that is available in the court filings. So what each party has alleged and the evidence that's available in the court filings. That's it. So on June 12th of 2019, Cardi B, real name Belcalis Marlenis Almanzar, filed a lawsuit against celebrity blogger Tasha K, real name Latasha Transrena Kebe, and Star Marie Jones. If you don't know who these people are, these are the players in the legal drama. On the plaintiff's side, we have Cardi B. Cardi B is a 28-year-old rapper, songwriter, and actress. She was born in Manhattan and raised in the Bronx. She attended Borough of Manhattan Community College while working as a stripper. She first came to fame as an Instagram and Vine celebrity. In 2015, Cardi B joined the cast of Love and Hip Hop. She released several mixtapes and left the show in 2016. She was eventually signed to Atlantic Records and released the hit debut single, Bodak Yellow, in 2017. She became the first female solo rapper to have a #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 since Lauryn Hill. Her debut solo album, Invasion of Privacy, entered the charts at #1. Cardi B has several endorsements, and this is important, with major corporations like Pepsi and Mac. Her most recent single, WAP, featuring Megan Thee Stallion, debuted on August 20th, 2020, and entered the charts at #1 and spent 4 weeks in that spot. Personally, she is married to Offset and has a baby daughter. On the defendant's side, we have Tasha K, born Latasha Transrena Howard, now Kebe, that's her married name. She is a social media personality and pop culture gossip aficionado who is famous for her highly popular YouTube channel, Unwind with Tasha K. Tasha K's channel has over 800,000 subscribers, 147 million channel views. Tasha K began her YouTube career in 2015. Personally, Tasha K is married and she has children. Born in Panama City, Florida, she resides in Atlanta, Georgia. The co-defendant in the originally filed lawsuit is Star Marie Jones. Not much is known about Ms. Jones, except that she claims to have been a dancer with Cardi B at the same strip club and claims to have been Cardi B's roommate in New York City. Ms. Jones stated that she was on probation in an Instagram Live. I was unable to find what Ms. Jones was on probation for. I did search for her in Fulton County, but I was unable to find that. So I actually did some research because I thought it was a little bit strange that I couldn't find her anywhere. And actually, her birth name is not Star Marie Jones. Her birth name is Marie Hamilton, and Star Marie Jones are just aliases for her. So she was actually sued under an alias name. She has several convictions for criminal trespass, theft, and giving a false name. She's currently on probation in Georgia, for which she received a suspended sentence for criminal trespass. I'm sorry, yes, and also for battery. Um, and Miss Hamilton also has convictions for giving a false birth date multiple times in 2010, 2011, criminal trespass in 2015, giving a false name in 2016, giving a false name in possession of cocaine in 2017, and battery in 2017, as well as giving a false name. And that's the thing that she's on probation for right now. So Miss Hamilton slash Miss Jones is difficult to find online because that is not her name. Her name is not Star Marie Jones, but that is her known alias for her probation order. So that is the background of all of the players in the case. The plaintiff, Cardi B, the defendant, Tasha K, and the co-defendant, Star Marie Jones. This lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court, Northern District of Georgia, which gives the federal government and the Georgia state law jurisdiction over this case. Cardi was able to file this lawsuit in federal court in Georgia because, number one, Tasha K and Star Marie are residents of Georgia, giving it personal jurisdiction. Number two, Tasha K and Star Marie's alleged bad acts were committed in Georgia, allegedly. That gives Georgia subject matter jurisdiction. And number three, Cardi B is seeking more than $75,000 in damages. Damages is the money that Cardi B is seeking from Star Marie Jones and Tasha. Cardi B is alleging these causes of action. Number one, slander per se and slander. Number two, libel per se. Number three, defamation. And number four, invasion of privacy / false light. And there's a fifth cause of action, which is intentional infliction of emotional distress. Because Cardi B is the plaintiff in the case, it is her burden to prove these allegations against Tasha K and Star Marie Jones by a preponderance of the evidence. All right, guys, so bear with me. I'm going to try my best to explain the law to you as simply and quickly as possible. So for libel, that's governed by Georgia law, libel and slander are basically the same. Libel is written and slander is spoken. The libelous statement must be false. And when an allegation is per se, because she alleged slander per se, it is so bad that it is implied to be slander or libel by the very nature of the statement. But you can rebut this with evidence. It must injure the reputation of another, and it must be malicious or with a reckless disregard for the truth. Libel must also be published. That doesn't mean it needs to be printed in a newspaper. That means that it needs to be shared with more than just the person who's making the statement. So it needs to be shared with another. And it has to also charge someone with being guilty of a crime, dishonesty, or immorality. And I put on the bottom of each of these slides the cases and the statutes that you can look to support the statements that I'm making. Slander is spoken, false, malicious, imputes to another a crime punishable by law, or charges a person with having some contagious disorder or being guilty of some debasing act. That element is very important to this case, and uttering disparaging words productive of special damages. Now, celebrities have a higher hurdle to jump over than regular people because damages cannot be awarded to a public figure for defamatory falsehoods without proof of actual malice or reckless disregard for the truth. Cardi B also alleged defamation, which is a false form of speech that has caused damage to the reputation of the person, emotional distress, or presented a person in a false light, or results in criticism, dishonor, or condemnation of that person. False light is the existence of false publicity that depicts the person as something or someone they are not, and it would be highly offensive to a reasonable person. There is an exception that may apply to this case where matters of public interest cannot form the basis of a claim for false light. Intentional infliction of emotional distress is intentional or reckless conduct that is extreme and outrageous. And that outrageous conduct caused the distress and there was severe emotional distress. We are going to get into Tasha K's best defenses when we cover Tasha K's side of the story, but it's important to know that Georgia and most other states distinguish between facts and opinion for slander, libel, and false light claims. Statements of personal opinion, no matter how hyperbolic, overblown, or offensive, cannot form the basis of a defamation or libel, slander, or false light claim. However, statements of fact, if false, can form the basis of one of these claims. Whether a statement is one of fact or opinion depends on whether the statement can be proven or disproven. Georgia does recognize that a statement can be libelous or slanderous by the innuendo made, which is based on the context of the statement. Here are the facts and allegations that were alleged by Cardi B that have led to this lawsuit. Now remember, these are just allegations. Where I was able to pull up supporting evidence of these allegations, I have provided it either in the description box or this video itself. She filed this lawsuit in June of 2018, and then later on in December of 2020, she amended it to add more allegations. I'm going to be talking about the allegations contained in both the original complaint and the amended complaint. This is on April 23rd of 2018, Tasha K posted a video and stated that the plaintiff's unborn child may be born with intellectual disabilities.
You need to take care of that baby because that baby come out with Down syndrome, and I'm already worried about if the baby gonna be able to talk. Well, both of her parents not speaking English, even though they were raised in an English country, and I don't understand why they don't speak English.
Now, Cardi B may have a harder time proving that this statement was either libelous or slanderous or defamation or false light because this statement was likely a matter of opinion. Tasha K was saying that because of Cardi B's actions, the context of performing and traveling and touring, she was putting her baby at risk. Her baby had not yet been born at this point in time. Whether or not this statement was so outrageous to have caused intentional infliction of emotional distress is a completely different story. But that is how the law applies to this statement. And if it was a statement of opinion, no matter how offensive, Cardi B will not be able to recover based on this statement for any of the defamation type claims, but she potentially will be able to recover for the intentional infliction of emotional distress. On September 2nd, 2018, Tasha K posted a YouTube video in which Tasha K alleged that Cardi B, quote, prostituted for a living. So disclaimer, this video has been removed from Tasha K's YouTube channel. However, Cardi B's attorney states that they have a copy of the video and they provided it in discovery, and it's at the 5-minute and 50-second timestamp. We don't have access to that because it's been sealed. Now, applying the law to the facts, and this will come up quite frequently in this statement of facts, the allegation that Cardi B is or was a prostitute is arguably a statement of fact and not an opinion. Just because Cardi B used to be a stripper, which is a legal activity, does not mean that she was a prostitute, which is an illegal activity and arguably by society standards far more immoral. So when Tasha K repeatedly says that Cardi B is a prostitute, as you'll see later on in this video, a judge or jury could find that she is making statements of fact. And then it is Cardi B's job to prove that she was not or is not a prostitute because it's her lawsuit. On September 13th, 2018, Star Marie Jones posted an Instagram live video making the statement that the plaintiff, Cardi B, has, quote, got herpes.
And the fact that she got herpes, that's out too.
Now, this statement by Star Marie would be actionable if, in fact, it's not true that Cardi B has herpes. And this would qualify as slander because it is alleging that Cardi B has some type of contagious disorder, which is objectionable to the general public. It's right in the statute. So Cardi B has to prove that the statement is not true. Then she has to prove that Star Marie made these comments with a reckless disregard for the truth because Cardi B is a celebrity. So she has to prove that actual additional portion. And quote, the more Molly pills she would be taking, the more cocaine she would be taking. End quote.
The more Molly pills she would be taking, the more cocaine she'd be taking.
And also, quote, I guess they were supposed to have sex in exchange for money, end quote, alleging that Cardi B was a prostitute.
Yes, they were supposed to have exchange sex for money.
On September 13th of 2018, to the following written comments saying that Cardi B was, quote, just a Grammy-nominated prostitute running around spreading herpes. I could not independently verify this because Star Marie has completely scrubbed her Instagram and almost all of her social media presence. She's taken almost everything down. Applying the law to the facts, all of these allegations are arguably allegations of fact instead of allegations of opinion, that Cardi B was a prostitute, that Cardi B took drugs, and that Cardi B had contagious diseases. All of these fall under the slander statute, spoken libel, to show that the person has some type of contagious disorder or immoral issue. And if Cardi B can show that they're not true, she would prevail on her claim. Now let's get into the Tasha K and Star Marie Jones interview, which really is what set this entire lawsuit off. Garnered 3 million views on YouTube. In the interview, and I've watched the interview, it's online, and I will provide a screenshot of it here. Tasha K asked Star Marie Jones, you said that Cardi B prostituted herself? Answer, yes. Was she a drug user? Yes. Cocaine and Molly to be specific? Yes. She has herpes? Yes. So you were living with her at the time and she had herpes outbreaks in her mouth? Yes.
So there was a lot that you spilled. You said that Cardi B prostituted.
Yes.
She was a drug user.
Yes.
Cocaine and Molly to be specific.
Yes.
Okay. She has herpes.
Yes.
All right.
Now, I don't want to get too much into Tasha K's defenses, but at this particular time, this interview more implicates Star Marie Jones than it does Tasha K, because if Star Marie knows that her statements are false, it doesn't necessarily mean that Tasha K knows that the statements are false. So at this point, for these particular statements, Tasha K, who is publishing the statements, would have a defense that the statement publication was not malicious because she did not know that it was false. But there will be some additional information forthcoming which might defeat that potential defense. There is also a question of whether or not Tasha K is liable for Star Marie Jones's statements because of Star Marie's past. Did Tasha K have some type of obligation to either investigate Star Marie further or inform the public of Star Marie's criminal history so that they would give her statements the appropriate weight that they deserved? That's something that's going to have to be determined by a judge. Kebe uploaded a video on her secondary YouTube channel that Jones's account may not have been true, and she published the interview a day earlier because information undermining Jones's credibility was about to be published.
Do I believe that she's telling the truth? Somewhat, yes. Do I believe some aspects of the story were exaggerated? Yes. But
this is where Tasha K's potential liability begins to kick in, and there will be more statements of this nature that become even more blatant. If Tasha K is admitting on the record in recordings that she had a disregard for whether or not Star Marie Jones's statements were true, she could have potentially, by spreading those statements and then adopting and perpetuating those statements been committing defamation, libel, and slander and false light. On January 25th of 2019, Kebe, that's Tasha K, tweeted that Cardi B has a confirmed irritated P word for female genitalia, and then followed the tweet with the hashtag herpesb. Tasha K used that hashtag herpesb in several places, and this would be an example of libel by innuendo under Georgia law, because she is inferring that or insinuating that Cardi B has herpes, which is a contagious disease. On April 25th of 2019, Tasha K published a phone call that she had recorded with her and another celebrity blogger known as Lovely T. The recording was taken before the interview with Star Marie Jones in September of 2018. Kebe admitted that Jones didn't tell all the truths, and as far as the allegations of herpes, she didn't know, or I don't know, and all of these strippers, meaning Cardi B and Jones, are lying. Tasha K also stated that if people defame her, Cardi B, or anything, that is Cardi's job to shut it down.
And Star told some truths. She didn't tell all truths. Now, as far as the herpes, I don't know. Cardi has an entire team to protect her. If people defame her or anything, that's Cardi's job.
Another argument in favor of Tasha K is that she was just reporting what Star Marie Jones was saying, that she wasn't necessarily propounding that that was the truth. However, you will see going forward that Tasha K took those same exact statements and then repeated them over and over again as though they were true, even though, as she says in this leaked phone call, she was not sure if they were true or not. That could be a malicious disregard for the truth. Now, a big a turning point happened in the case on November 29th of 2020. On that day, Cardi B filed an amended complaint. In her amended complaint, Cardi B removed Star Marie Jones as a named co-defendant. I do not know why Star Marie Jones was removed as a named co-defendant. I do want to point out that this means that going forward, Star Marie Jones's statements are not completely relevant to liability, except for where Cardi B can show that Tasha K was aware that Star Marie Jones's statements were false, or should have been aware that they were false, and she recklessly disregarded it. She also amended the complaint to add Kebe Studios LLC as a named defendant in the case, and then added these further allegations. On April 23rd of 2019, Tasha K posted a YouTube video saying that Cardi B stuck beer bottles up her vagina. She actually took beer bottles from pedestrians. This is on video. She took beer bottles from the pedestrians and stuck it in her cooch and drank the bottle and gave it back to them.
Past where she stuck beer bottles up her vagina. She actually took beer bottles from pedestrians. Okay? No. This is on video. She took the beer bottle from the pedestrian. Okay, he was drinking it, stuck it in her cooch. Okay, drank the beer bottle and gave it back to him.
This is clearly a statement of fact and not a statement of opinion. Tasha K is alleging that a historical fact has occurred. Now, Tasha K also alleges that it is on video. So if Tasha K is able to produce that video at her trial or in her discovery, she would be able to prove that it was a thing that actually occurred and she's not lying about it, and therefore she can't be liable for libel or slander. However, if Tasha K cannot produce evidence in her defense, even though it's not her burden, but she's going to need to produce something to show that this thing is actually on video, then Cardi B has an excellent case that this event did not occur. Therefore, Tasha K's statement is slander. On July 19th of 2019, Tasha K published a video containing the defamatory statement that Cardi B engaged in prostitution.
With a roommate, and I didn't have to sell no twat. I didn't have to get on my knees and do this. I didn't have to.
On November 8th of 2019, Tasha K published a video that alleges that Cardi B engaged in prostitution.
Come out here and say that she's not the bad guy and she's never sold. That's a lie.
It's where Tasha K begins to assert that Cardi B was a prostitute that I think she runs into the most legal trouble, potentially. Because although it seems like Tasha K is saying that because Cardi B was a stripper, she must have therefore been a prostitute. This could potentially be slander by way of innuendo, because those are two different activities as is recognized by law. One is a crime and one is not. On December 30th of 2019, Tasha K published a video stating that Cardi B was sitting on beer bottles. They was drinking and they could have some cold sores, and she sat on the beer bottles.
A stripper that is yet prostituted. I don't know why she's trying to make us believe that like she was somehow this good stripper. Was it her? She was sitting on beer bottles. She was taking pedestrians' beer bottles. They was drinking. And they could have had some cold sores.
On April 24th of 2020, Tasha K published a video which stated that Cardi B has herpes. This video has since been deleted. On September 18th of 2020, Tasha K published a video that Cardi B, quote, is a prostitute, has HPV, and has committed infidelity.
Yeah, she got mad. I helped to tell the world. I co-signed everything that she said. She's a whole prostitute, whatever. Okay, I know you got HPV. I know.
Alleging that Cardi B has herpes and HPV is quite dangerous for Tasha K, because if the statements are not true, this is something that is easily verifiable by way of a test. Cardi B has asked for discovery to be sealed, which is why I can see the filings, but I can't see the discovery that was filed. And they may at some point in time be able to test for whether or not she has these contagious diseases. And if she doesn't, and Tasha K said that she did with a reckless disregard for the truth, then Tasha K would be liable for defamation, libel, slander, and false light. On September 21st of 2020, Tasha K published a video stating that Cardi B is a prostitute.
One, she mad because I call her a prostitute. You so, okay?
Is an adulterer.
She done milked his ass, now she with somebody else.
Also, Tasha K admitted in this same video that, quote, I make up stories out of thin air.
I make up stories. Out of thin air? Tasha just make up stories.
End quote. I knew the S was fake. I knew they was MF and fake, the story. I'm gonna put the BS out anyway. I knew it was fake and I still made it go viral. If you continue to send me fake stories on you, I'm going to air them as they are.
I knew it was fake, and guess what? Because I knew it was fake, guess what? I still made that shit go motherfucking viral.
So keep sending me the lies. That video is what prompted Cardi B to amend her lawsuit to add additional allegations of further defamation, and then Tasha K allegedly admitting that she knew that the statements were false. That video was an absolute turning point, because up until that point in time, it was questionable whether or not Tasha K knew that the statements were false or had a reckless disregard for the truth, basically whether or not she was malicious in her publication of these statements. This most recent video basically removes that doubt. Tasha K still has a defense that the context of the entire video was that she believed that the false statements were coming from Cardi B herself. But if Cardi B can prove that the false statements and false allegations were not coming from Cardi B herself, then Tasha K is in a lot of legal trouble here. She's in a bit of a legal dilemma. But again, That does not mean that she does not have a case. What it does mean is that she's going to have to convince a judge or a jury that Cardi B engaged in some type of legal chess match conspiracy in which she sent anonymous sources to tell Tasha K defamatory statements about her so that Tasha K would not do her due diligence and investigate these statements before publishing them with a reckless disregard for the truth. Either way, the argument can be made that Tasha K had a reckless disregard for the truth in publishing these statements if they turn out to be false. Also, Tasha K has a defense as to the false light allegations. The reason she has a defense as to the false light allegations is because Cardi B is a public figure. There is a question of whether or not she has a reasonable expectation of privacy as a public figure individual who has shared a lot about her personal life. And that's a part of her persona, her marketing persona. Her record label and record company deal was all based on her persona as well as her talent. So her persona as an entity may make it difficult for her to prevail on a claim of false light. As far as intentional infliction of emotional distress, Cardi B is going to have a lot easier time with that if she can show that the outrageous statements that were made by Tasha K did in fact cause her severe emotional distress. But that is in no way a slam dunk. In part 2, we will discuss Tasha K's defenses and outline the entirety of her case. Thank you guys so much for watching. I put a lot of effort into filming and editing and researching this video. If you could please comment on the video, like the video, and subscribe if you're not subscribed, that would really help the channel. Have a nice day. Bye.